എന്താണ് സ്പെല്ലിങ് പറയണേ, ഇതിൽ തെറ്റുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ പറ. ഒരു ആസ്പെക്റ്റാണ് എങ്ങനെയാണ് ബിഹേവ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ ആസ്പെക്റ്റ് ഒക്കെ ഇതിൻ്റെ സ്വഭാവം ആ പ്ലാനറ്റിൻ്റെ സ്വഭാവമാണ്. ഇവിടെ മറ്റുള്ളവർക്ക് ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ട് നമ്മളെ ആസ്പെക്ട്സ് ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ ഇസ് വെരി ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ്. ഇത് നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇഫ് ദിസ് ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ ഇസ് ദർ ഇൻ അവർ മൈൻഡ്, then you can relate. When you apply some practice, when you propose some practice or apply Kundalini Yoga on a life situation or something like that, this is very important. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് അത്രയും ഭാഗം മാത്രം സെപ്പറേറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് എഴുതി. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ, ഇപ്പം നമുക്ക് ഒരാളിന് സെൻസ് ഓർഗൻ നമ്മൾ ടണ്ണും കഴിയും. ടണ്ണ് അതുകൊണ്ട് സെൻസ് ടേസ്റ്റോ. അപ്പോൾ ടങ്ങിൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു പ്രശ്നം, എന്തെങ്കിലും ബ്ലിസ്റ്റേഴ്സ് എന്തെങ്കിലും വന്നു വെച്ചോ, ഇത് ഇമ്മീഡിയറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് there happens something in the tongue, like a blister or some wounds or something happens. That when you study this system, you can immediately relate it with water elements. Above, there is an imbalance in the water element, that is why it manifests in the tongue. Above, sense of taste, tongue, water element, അതിൻ്റെ കർമ്മേന്ദ്രിയ ജനിറ്റൽ. അപ്പോൾ ഇതെല്ലാം ഓടുകയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഇത്രയും ഏറിയ ഇതിനകത്ത് ദിസ് മച്ച് ഓഫ് ഏരിയ ഇസ് കണക്റ്റഡ് വിത്ത് ദ വാട്ടർ എലമെന്റ്. സോ യു ലൊക്കേറ്റ് ദ പ്രോബ്ലം ഓഫ് ദ ടങ് വിത്ത് മെയിൻലി ദ എലമെന്റ്, ദ സെൻസ് ഓർഗൻ, ദ വർക്ക് ഓർഗൻ, ദ സെൻസ്. സോ ഇത്ര ഏറിയ വിൽ somehow get affected or there is some imbalance in this area. പിന്നെ ഇനി ഒരു കാര്യം കൂടി എഴുതാനുണ്ട്. കഴിഞ്ഞ പ്രാവശ്യത്തിൽ എഴുതിയില്ല. ഇതിൻ്റെ കറസ്പോണ്ടിങ് ഇൻറ്റേർണൽ ഓർഗൻസ്. ഇൻറ്റേർണൽ ഓർഗൻസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് യൂറിനറി സിസ്റ്റമാണ്. അതിനകത്തുള്ളതല്ല. urinary bladder, urethra, ureter. Then നമ്മുടെ ആണുങ്ങൾ ടെസ്റ്റൊക്കെ ഒന്നല്ലേ പറയുന്നത്, ആണോ? അതാ ടെസ്റ്റിസ് ആണോ? മെയിൽ ഓർഗൻ ടെസ്റ്റിസ് അല്ലേ? urinary system, testis, so ഇങ്ങനെ മറ്റേ ബസ്സൊക്കെ റെക്ടവും ഏനസാണ് എഴുതി വെച്ചോളൂ. അതുപോലെ ഇതിനകത്ത് ഇതിനകത്ത് നമ്മുടെ കിഡ്നീസിന് 2 ചക്രയിലാണ് കിഡ്നി വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. കിഡ്നീസ് സെക്കൻഡ് ചക്രയും തേർഡ് ചക്രയിലും കിഡ്നിയുമായിട്ട് കണക്ഷൻ വെക്കുന്നു. യൂറിനറി സിസ്റ്റത്തിൻ്റെ പാർട്ടായിട്ട് കിടക്കുന്ന കിഡ്നിയും മറ്റേ സൂപ്പർ ഗ്ലാൻഡ് അതിൻ്റെ മുകളിലിരിക്കുന്നത് കിഡ്നികൾ ഒട്ടിയിരിക്കുന്ന ഇതായതുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മുടെ ആങ്കർ, സ്ട്രെസ്, നമ്മളായ കാര്യങ്ങൾ കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യുന്ന ആ സിസ്റ്റം രണ്ടും കൂടി ചേർന്നാണ്. സരസ്വതി നാളെ കാരണം നമ്മുടെ ഫ്ലെക്സിബിലിറ്റിയെ സംബന്ധിച്ച കാര്യം തന്നെയാണ്. സരസ്വതി എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ നമ്മൾ ഫ്ലെക്സിബിൾ ആയിരുന്ന മോനായിട്ടില്ല, ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ വല്ലവരും വിളിച്ച് പറയും നാവുകൊണ്ട്. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് സരസ്വതി ദേവി വന്നൻ നാവിൽ വിളയാടുക സർവകാലം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് നമ്മൾ പ്രാർത്ഥിക്കുന്നത്. ഏതെങ്കിലും രീതിയിലുള്ള ഫ്രസ്ട്രേഷൻ ഇപ്പോൾ വരുമ്പോൾ ഇതെല്ലാം അനാവശ്യങ്ങളല്ലേ പറയും. വലിയ പ്രാപിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരുന്ന പെണ്ണിൻ്റെ അടുത്തല്ലേ ഈ അനാവശ്യത്തിൽ പറയും. അല്ലേ, നമുക്ക് സാറിന് പറയാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. ഇതോ കാണിച്ച് പിടിച്ചില്ല, അപ്പം അങ്ങ് പറയണം അവളുടെ അച്ഛനും അമ്മയ്ക്കും ഒക്കെ പറയും. വലിയ കൺട്രോളാണ്, വലിയ കണക്ഷനുമായിട്ട് കിടക്കുക. ഇത് എടുത്തിട്ട് അടുത്ത ചക്രം. Manipura, the meaning is city of gems. Mani means gems, precious stone. Manipura Chakra. Although it's a very significant name because this is the chakra where we are keeping some very precious gems. So it is called the city of gems. Details I will come. Generally, this chakra has the same format of all the chakras, round. Round indicates circular movement of energy. And there are 10 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 petals. The petals are inscribed, or for practice they have inscribed certain letters like other centers. Dam, tham, nam. Tam, tham, dam, tham, nam, pam, pam. These are the 10 petal sounds of the chakra. Then you see the round. Round indicates chakra, circular movement of energy. In the middle core of the round, we have the yantra format. The yantra is triangle, downward pointing triangle with opening on 3 sides. These openings. The openings indicate ventilating doorways. The basic element with respect to this chakra is fire. This is a chakra which generates a lot of fire of conflict basically. And digestive fire also comes there. So when the fire is growing inside, like psychological fire, when it is anger basically, when it goes, if it is allowed to stay inside without ventilating it, certainly it can be very fatal. People can get heart attacks. So there are these openings are called puburas, opening doorways or courtyards. So it is very clearly shown in this that the heat energy which is generated in Manipura Chakra has pathways to go out, and you need to be aware of it. You have to ventilate the excess heat. The required heat is fine, but when it is growing in excess, that needs to be ventilated and make yourself free from the burning sensation of the heat that grows inside. അത് ഒരു വലുതായിട്ട് കാണിച്ചിട്ട് it is shown in a magnified way. Then the yantra, this central core is the yantra part, and yantra is carried by the ram. Ram is a chimerial. If you see these animals, they have a very special way of attacking each other. They gallop on 2 legs and then they hit with the head. You can hear dum, dum, like that they hit with the head. And the Manipura Chakra person exactly behaves in this way because he is hitting with his head constantly. Because he wanted to understand something. And he understands and he creates his understanding into concepts, beliefs and ideas, and he store it. Then he cling on to this. And then in conversations or in confrontations with others, certainly this will be projected. And then if that is not an acceptable idea for somebody else, the fight between the two people starts. Arguments come out. Argument may start in a very simple way, but if the argument is going further, it becomes a very heated discussion. Then we often say also we had a very heated discussion. And at the end, what will happen is both of them, they get very frustrated. Their physiology changes, frustration grows, their breath alters, their heartbeat changes, and they get into a stress condition. These are simple arguments, but that is then why it is happening, that because the idea of winning, losing comes. I am the right one and I was saying the right. The other one also feels that he is saying the right. Both are wrong because they are fighting. But that will not be understood because they are trying to kill each other and kill themselves. If your circulatory system is really working enormously beyond the normal control, certainly you are really approaching to a big disaster. And maybe by big anger, people can get heart attack also. And even otherwise, the what we call excess production of adrenaline and things like that alters the chemistry, and that needs to be taken out from the body. Otherwise, it will stay somewhere, maybe at least for some days, and then it will be evacuated or urinated, and you get rid of it. But the chemistry alters, and that is actually our chemistry needs to be in a balanced condition. The chemistry in yogic traditions is said as the normal composition, balance of elements. There is a balanced condition, and that balanced condition needs to be maintained. If you go out of balance, certainly it will affect your health. Because the balance is gone, you get stressed, and then the stress, which is ati, and that will certainly slowly push you to sickness. Many more people have died due to anger than people died of world wars. Not that. Continuously it is happening. Maybe not immediate death, maybe we alter the system and we slowly approaching towards big troubles. So this is the seat of fire. The element, the yantra part, has this downward pointing triangle, which indicates a piercing movement of energy, but not upward, but downward. That's why the triangle is not upside down. The triangle, the horizontal part is looking towards the pointing part, which is downward. Then ram is considered as the animal, the vehicle that carries the chakra. So the nature of the ram is hitting with the head constantly. That when you apply it in the human situation, you can feel that the ram indicates the argumentative nature and the fighting tendencies of the people when their concepts or beliefs or ideas or knowledge is challenged. Constant fight. And then when the fight continues for some time, if you cannot win the game, you go into isolation. The second chakra also isolates you and leading to depression. Here depression won't come, but you remain as a fighter. The second chakra, you get into depression by isolating yourself from the rest, but here you isolate others. You don't let anybody come closer to you because they are illiterate people. They don't know anything. I don't want to waste my time. And it's like you are somebody superior intellectually or a knowledgeable person, and you hold on that idea and never compromise. And it's very difficult to be with that kind of argumentative people, arguing people. And that is the nature of the Manipura Chakra. And that is indicated by the ram, which is the vehicle which carries the whole thing. It's a general trend or tendency of the person who is motivated by Manipura Chakra. So the fire will be always stronger than or manifesting by small triggers. That needs to be observed. If you don't observe from the very beginning, then it will grow, and the fire, like the fire in the kitchen, if you are not really keeping it under control, it can burn the whole house. In the same way, our house has this energy, which is the energy of fire, and that needs to be observed, and when it has to be put down and slow down the flame, we need to do, otherwise it will destroy the whole. This is a very powerful element. A ram indicates the nature of the person in Manipura Chakra. Then we have the feminine and masculine deity. The feminine deity is called the Alchemy. Her name is Alchemy. And she has fire, then she has a thunderbolt. This is the thunderbolt. Minnal, Idi Minnal. Some spark also there. This is the fire. And then she has, see here, she has an arrow. This arrow in the second chakra, which is the Kamabanam, which is pointing upheld by the deity, here it is putting down. He is not interested in that at all. Now his passion is in intellectual questions. Before, the passion is with regard to physical passion, like sex and other things. Pleasure hunting. He is not pleasure hunting, the person. He is interested in knowledge and ideas, wisdom, not wisdom, knowledge, ideas, concepts, beliefs. Then he go on synthesizing and he present it to the society. If suppose somebody accepts, it's well and good, they will be okay and happy. And if suppose somebody don't accept it, there will be arguments, there will be fight, and there will be what you call kicking out people from the life. This is the nature of the Manipura Chakra. It is considered as a very, very powerful chakra, fiery chakra. And that fire is indicated by the fire upheld by the deity on the right upper hand. And so it indicates it's a holy fire. In the deity, it is a holy fire, a controlled fire, which can be lit at any time for constructive things, for not for destruction, but for constructive ideas. And that is the holy fire. Then it becomes a holy fire. Holy fire is the sacrificial fire. Like we do sacrifices, like Ari Kaputi, we do sacrificial fire. And sacrificial fire, the very name indicates that you need to sacrifice whatever which you cannot cope up with or which you cannot handle, or the bigger emotions that are coming, argumentative tendencies and then fighting tendencies or aggressivity based on intellectual things needs to be sacrificed into that holy fire. There is no other way. And then you understand it, and you understand it's only destructive, it is nothing constructive in it. And that needs to be sacrificed in the holy fire of conflict. That is the sacrificial fire. Then you have the thunderbolt in one of the hands. It indicates the character of the person. The small things come, he will behave like a demon, like a thunderbolt. Very impatient, because he has already confirmed that he knew it. So it's a person who never listens. You only push out his idea. And he's not a listening person. He is just a person who is throwing his understanding on people and making people understand the viewpoint of him. And thereby, there is a lot of suffering for the person. Nobody likes such people. If you are not a listener, nobody will come closer to you. Everybody has their own problems, and they are coming to have a conversation based on the problems and say this problem to others and ventilate the problem. But if a person is really fiery in nature and really wanting to push his ideas without listening the other one, certainly that person will not be an acceptable person for the society. And people say, oh, Murkhan, it's very difficult actually to be with this person. He is so angry and you cannot even talk to him. And that is the nature of the Manipura Chakra, and that is indicated by the lightning and thunderbolt. That is like a weapon he is holding. Somebody starts, you immediately fire on that, and then everybody stops, and you are okay. And then, the other hand, she is keeping the Kamabanam of the second chakra, which is brought under control, is pointing, the sharp edge is pointing towards the earth. Surrender. That kind of argument, that kind of things is not anymore there for the person. Passion is not a problem for him. He is not looking for passion. His passion is in ideas, creating ideas and inflicting some ideas on, imposing some ideas on others and try to transform them according to the way you want them to be. And so it's a very arrogant person, very aggressive person, very fighter. And there is a lot of suffering for that kind of people. And then, if you are actually an observant of what is going on inside you, certainly you will get a command and control over the fire that is generated by the person himself. And so far that is not happening, then the fire will burn the person. And so a person needs to be an observant to understand the cause of the fire that is coming up, then he will have control. The cause of the fire is from the knowledge, concepts, beliefs and ideas. And that needs to be explored, that I will take after describing the masculine deity. This is the nature of the person. And in this, Agni Shakti has 3 heads. So actually it is adding faculties from the first chakra, what he has understood, like the control over the stubbornness and like for the drive for getting everything for yourself, possessiveness, jealousy, all these things he understood. And so he mastered that, and that is one of the head in the third chakra. The second chakra, passion, is under control. That is the second chakra. And the third chakra is presently on, which is the middle head of the present chakra. And that needs to be understood. Understood means one need to observe. There is no other way of understanding this. Constant observation. Then something can change. Then when you come to the masculine deity, and deity is called Vrutharudra. The old Shiva. Vrutharudra. The Vrutharudra is a very detached person. This person is not anymore interested in the aspects of the base chakra. He is not thinking about his food. He can remain without food also. He don't look, or he don't have passion for food, pleasure, security. And as he don't have this kind of a security issue, he can be very, very strong. He is not scared of death. In some ways, that may be the reason why this deity Vrtarudra is seated in the cremation yard, very detached. He is not connected with the basic things of human life, which is food, security, shelter, nor sex, family, creativity and all those things. He is in the cremation yard. He is well aware of, intellectually he is well aware of the mortal nature of the body. He is working on knowledge, concepts and beliefs, but the ideal person should have that kind of an attachment from the concepts, beliefs and ideas. That's why he realizes the spirit of life. If he wants, he can realize the spirit of life. That is not wasting your life for arguments and unnecessary discussions, and keeping the energy, understanding that the life is not something to be just thrown into ashes, but it needs to be used constructively for higher development. He is a very detached person. He is seated in the cremation yard. And he has this trident, and the trident indicates Trishula. Trident indicates the three principles of coming into being, existing and withdrawing. Number creation, existence and withdrawal, destruction. He is well aware that I came here. There is a possibility. Not the normal people who are motivated by the aspects of this chakra, but not that kind of people, but they are working on it to transform themselves. This is the positive aspects of the chakra. You are aware that you came here, you are here, you will go back anyway. So make use of the time for better things, not end up in war and fight and arguments and protecting concepts. There is much more beyond that. And that is, by understanding that, he is very, very detached. That possibility is there in the chakra. So the masculine deity is showing the possibilities. He is seated on a tiger skin. The tiger skin in tiger indicates the passion. And seated on a tiger skin indicates got control over passion. And that's the nature of the person. Generally the person is like that, but the masculine aspect are portraying where you can lead yourself. Even that holy fire, that fire, destructive fire, can be converted into holy fire, and that can burn down everything, even your ideas, beliefs and concepts, and then you can make yourself free. When these ideas, beliefs and concepts, when it comes, it's meaningless, so you can put it into the holy fire, which is actually is seated in the cremation yard, in the fire, understanding that life is mortal. And so there is no point in arguing and creating trouble in this life. So he is seated on this, he is dispassionate and seated on a tiger skin, having a drone on the bottom hand and a trident on the other hand. The drone is the drone of conflict actually. He is alerting that there could be a big possibility for getting into big conflict by involving in unnecessary discussions based on concepts, beliefs and ideas. And so he is very detached, seated in the cremation yard. But this person has a lot of snakes all around his body. In every joint he is putting some snakes. Snakes represents passion. So he brought that kind of passion under control, and also indicates that there is a possibility to get control over the passion. Passion of the first chakra he has mastered. The passion of the second chakra he has mastered. But he has the passion in the Manipura Chakra, and that could also be tamed and controlled. That is shown by the snakes, like wearing as ornaments. That is the possibility which is offered by Manipura Chakra. So everything is put there, the ideas are put. Then in the middle core, you can see the Bija Mantra. This is the Bija Mantra. This is the Bija Mantra. Ram, Ram, Ram. Ram is the Bija Mantra of Manipura Chakra. When you do the sound Ram, see, do the sound, the front side of the upper palate and the tongue get connected in this Ra, Ra, Ra. There is a corrugated part on the front side of the upper palate, and your tongue make a spark there, and so that part is considered as the seat of fire. Ra. And you stimulate that fire by reciting this sound. Ram, Ram. It's a very powerful mantra, and it stimulates the fire inside, and then in that fire, if conflicts comes up, we can put in sacrifice and get rid of it. This is the idea. These are the ideas which are shown by the Manipura Chakra. We are going to do some dhyanam in Manipura Chakra. When you are entering into a meditative state and you are stimulating the fire corresponding with the Manipura Chakra. So this is the immediately touching the memory. The conflict of fire, with the root of it is in the conflict that takes place, is due to two aspects. One is your understanding, the other is the understanding imposed on you by the society. Some of the ideas we cannot take. So, but we being a human being and want to have a little peace of mind, so we will not show it out to the world. We just hold it. So there is a conflict. The fire of conflict is generated, but going to create trouble. Even inside the house, in the families, and you feel, and you become silent. Okay, I don't need to do this. No point in arguing. So you hold all these things. It doesn't mean that you are peaceful, but deep inside the conflict is growing. But you are not spelling it out. It is important to spell it out, but usually we take spelling out of these ideas in the wrong time. Somebody says something, immediately the push is there to really counter the other one. So the other one also trying this towards you. This is not a listening time. It is a projecting time. Usually we are trying on this projecting time to make the other one listen. First of all, he has to listen to understand. We are talking for him to or the other person to understand, but in the wrong time. So that is why we need to have the basic calmness. Just wait a little bit. The fire doesn't permit that. This same fire can be converted into its higher realms. And when you study fire, you can see that you keep holding some fire, and we have done it in the workshop there. And then you are watching the smoky, dark, reddish fire will be there with a lot of things. And then the fire slowly changes, and it becomes a more yellowish, steady flame with no smoke. And then if you allow it to continue with some ghee or butter or something for it to support the fire to grow, and then it will be refined and it will be bluish flame at the end. This is the refined flame. So the anger that is coming also can be transcended to its higher realm of pure fire. When the fire is contaminated with the thinking process, which is coming from the memory where there are a lot of things are hidden, stored. So when you start to work with your tongue, it stimulates the fire, by creating some spark, and it immediately goes and touches the chakra which is corresponding with the fire, which is the Manipura Chakra, and all the memories which has been stored in the memory connected with the third chakra, which is connected with our argumentative life which we have been going on. Many of the arguments were rejected. Or with frustration they might, okay, so, yeah, I agree. They simply agree, not fully agree. You know that they are simply saying, I agree. No, we don't need to go, I agree. You still have the frustration. There are many things like that inside the memory. So when you are triggering that particular fire center with this particular mantra, which is considered as the mantra of fire due to its nature of triggering the fire point in your mouth, then the memory gets stimulated after some time of practice. Then it pops up. Many of the conflicting things that has happened in the mind, which we are not even thinking now, but it is alive, it is not there. So if it starts to pop up, you get a chance for you to sacrifice that attachment, bond with that cause of fire, which is kept in the memory. And for that, the practice helps you, because you are attending on navel center, which is the seat of fire. You are working on it with sounds, with mantra, and with breath. Then it starts to get triggered, and it starts to surface. When it surfaces, you are not going to argue now, because there is nobody to argue with you at that time. You are alone. Then you are confronting the actual problem which is there in the past, in the memory. There is nobody there. But you may get very restless because it's happening inside. But if you can keep the observer on at that time, detached Shiva, you get already we were attached with this. That's why Shiva is sitting in the cremation yard with regard to this particular chakra. So if you are looking at that experience which is coming from within, you focus your attention, stay as an observer, and then see what is popping up. Then what can it do? Nothing. You are not supporting with your thinking. So it stays there for a little time. You get a little frustrated. You get used to that frustration. Then it disappears and it goes. Then again it comes back in your second sitting, and then you get used to it. Usually we suppress it. We don't want to see it because it is, originally it has created some kind of trouble for us. So we don't want to, that's why we often say that I don't want to hear that. Normally if there is if you had some fight with somebody and some stories are connecting with that particular incident comes, we often say, I don't want to hear it. This is the normal tendency. We don't want to take it up, observe, understand what is happening within you. And without that, you will never get out of this. So to get that source and trigger that source, bring it up in the mind, and then watch it as an observer is a way of redeeming you out of that particular problem.
നമ്മുടെ ഈ ചക്രയുടെ പ്രാക്ടീസ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ മറ്റ് രണ്ട് താഴത്തെ ലോവർ ചക്രാസുമായിട്ട് റിലേറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള കോൺഫ്ലിക്ട്സും ഈ ഫയറിലേക്ക് കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ പറ്റും. അതും ആ സമയത്ത് ഇങ്ങനെ റേസ് ചെയ്ത് വരാൻ പറ്റും.
അത് വരും. എന്നുവെച്ചാൽ നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞില്ലേ, പഞ്ചീകരണം പഠിച്ചില്ലേ? യു ഹാവ് സ്റ്റഡീഡ് പഞ്ചീകരണം. ഇൻ എവറി എലമെന്റ്, after Panchikaram, every element has all the other elements. You are triggering fire element, but the cause of fire may be with regard to family matters or adjustmental issues, or the partner is not really behaving in a normal way as expected by you. Now you want to modify the other one, and then he is not ready to get modified. There is actually, it's a source of fire, but we are not addressing this. And we consider that this person is really ugly. I don't want to have anything with that person. But and we went away, but the source is still there. Because the source is staying within ourselves. We have to actually get rid of the whole thing. Otherwise it will stay with us. So in spiritual work in Kundalini Yoga, we are addressing every little thing of the past as and when it pops up. That's why we are triggering different chakras to see the content which is connected with that element. Then you are passively seeing, because now there is no issue actually. Issues are somehow, whether settled or not, it's not there, but the memory is coming. Memory is not creating any issue, it is just showing something. So when it is showing, and as our tendency is to suppress it or sidetrack it or throw it away, as this tendency is there, we will not be able to unbiasedly look at it and understand this. We take sides. Always we take our side. This is how it is working. So the problem will be still there. The problem will not go. We want to eradicate the source of the problem. And the only possibility is just to stay when this is popping up and observe. And then it is the meditation actually. You observe, and then it disintegrates. It shows for a time and it disintegrates. And as we are not avoiding it or suppressing or sidetracking it, this is addressed. So far you are addressing it as a witness, you just see, that is addressing it. Then this thought is revealing, the memory is revealing to you your problems. Why are you trying to sidetrack it? It's not something which is existing at this moment. But still we want to sidetrack. That means the issue is still there. In a very, very subtle form. And that we need to familiarize with it. And it will come and show that we are not doing anything, we are just getting familiar with something which we are avoiding all the time. And then it comes and shows, and then finally it will not come also after some time. If you are not addressing it, it will come, because there is a force that it gains and want to show you. It's one of the great grace the mind is keeping. Unless you are seeing, the problem will not be settled. If you are seeing, the problem would be settled. So the mind is really hard working to show it to you. And then it is showing, then you don't want to see. So mind is very graceful in this way. It is operating for you to get rid of it. But we avoid it. That is why problems always remain as problems. If you see it, it gets weaker and weaker. And then you get familiar with that. It's not a problem anymore. You have seen everything. Then the frequency of the popping up of a memory in the form of thought will be slowing down. Maybe it comes 50 times a day, but maybe it is reducing to 10 times, maybe one time, maybe once in many days, and maybe once in a year, and it won't come at all. So actually it is settled. Unless we are looking at it, it won't be settled. Our attempt is to avoid it. Or if it is too strong, you go and have a drink and then I forget. But that is what people believe. When they drink, it gets boosted up. And then they go on talking about this unconsciously. So this is so important to address the issue. That is the only way. With detachment. That is why the detached Shiva is placed in the cremation yard, where actually there is no meaning of life. The life is meaningless in that sense, because in the sense that you are not going to be here anyway. അല്ല അവിടെ ഇരിക്കാൻ സ്വസ്ഥ അവിടെ ഇരിക്കാൻ പേടിയില്ല രാത്രി 12 മണിക്കൊക്കെ സിനിമയും കണ്ടിട്ട് ആ ശ്മശാനത്തിന്റെ സൈഡിൽ കൂടി ഇങ്ങനെ നടന്നു വരുമ്പോഴേ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരു പേടി വരിക ഈ ആരെങ്കിലും പിടിക്കുമോ അവിടെ വരുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് ചെറിയ ശബ്ദം തുമ്മലൊക്കെ കേട്ടല്ലേ കടയുടെ നടയിലെല്ലാം പണ്ടേ അത് കിടന്നുള്ള ഒറ്റ ഓട്ടാണ്. പിന്നെ ഒരു കിലോമീറ്റർ ഓടിയിട്ട് നിൽക്കൂ. ആ ഫിയർ ഓഫ് ഡെത്ത് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഒരു സംഭവം. ഒരിക്കലും പേടിക്കേണ്ടാത്ത കാര്യമാണ് ഈ ഡെത്ത് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന കാര്യം. ഡെത്തിന് ശേഷമുള്ള കാര്യം അവരെല്ലാം പോയി, ആരില്ല, ശരീരമില്ല, ഒന്നുമില്ല, അവർക്കൊന്നും ചെയ്യില്ല. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മളുടെ ഫിയർ കൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ ഒരാളെ ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് വെച്ചിരിക്കുകയാണ് ഇയാളൊരു അപ്പാരിഷൻ. ഈ അപ്പാരിഷൻ ഇങ്ങോട്ട് വന്ന് നമ്മൾ പിടികൂടും എന്ന് വിചാരിച്ചിട്ട് നമ്മളതിനെ പേടിച്ചിട്ട് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക. അത് തുപ്പിയതാണ് ആരോ ശരിക്കും രാത്രി ഇവിടെ പോവുകയാണ് കന്യാകുമാരി. എന്നുവെച്ചാൽ ഇല്ല നമ്മുടെ കോൺട്രാക്ട് ഇവനാണ്. നമ്മുടെ രവി ഇല്ലേ, രവി കോൺട്രാക്ട് രവി, നമ്മുടെ കോൺട്രാക്ട് രവി. അവൻ 2 നോവൽ എഴുതി കേട്ടോ. അവൻ 2 നോവലും പബ്ലിഷ്, 9 നോവലുണ്ട്, അതിൽ 2 പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്തു. അപ്പം അവൻ വലിയ റൈറ്ററാണ്. ഇവൻ ഞാനും കൂടെ പോവുകയാണ്. എന്താ കാര്യം? പോകാൻ കാര്യം എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ അവിടെ വെളുപ്പക്കാലത്ത് നമ്മൾ അവിടെ ഒരാളെ കാണണം. ഡീറ്റെയിൽസ് ഒന്നും ഞാൻ പറയുന്നില്ല. ഒരാളിനെ പോയി കണ്ട് സംസാരിക്കണം. അപ്പോൾ അതായത് പറയായപ്പോൾ എന്തോ പണി, അവിടെ പോയി സംസാരിക്കണം. ഈ കാണാൻ പോണ ആള് എനിക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമുള്ള പെണ്ണിൻ്റെ സഹോദരനാണ്. അവൻ എൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് സംസാരിക്കണം എന്നാണ് പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ പിന്നെ രാത്രി ഇവിടെ നിന്ന് പോവുകയാണ്. രാവിലെ പോയിട്ട് തിരിച്ചിങ്ങ് രാവിലെ നേരെ ഏതാണ്ട് ഒരു 10 മണിക്കെങ്കിലും ഇവിടെ തിരിച്ചെത്തണം. ഞാൻ നാളെ പിടിക്കാം, ഡിഗ്രിക്ക് പഠിക്കുന്ന സമയമാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഇതിന് രാത്രി പോയാലേ പറ്റൂ. ഇവിടെ അമ്മ ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിൽ കിടക്കണം വയ്യാതെ, കുറച്ച് സീരിയസ് കണ്ടീഷനാണ്. പക്ഷെ ഇത് അതുപോലെ സീരിയസ് ആണ്. ഇത് അതുപോലെ സീരിയസ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള വിഷയമാണ്. പോകാതിരിക്കാൻ പറ്റുമോ? നമ്മുടെ അഭിമാനത്തിൻ്റെ ഇവിടെ പ്രശ്നമല്ല. ഇവൻ ചോദിക്കാനാണെങ്കിൽ വരാൻ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നു. അപ്പം പിന്നെ അങ്ങ് ചോദ്യം ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി അങ്ങോട്ട് പോകാമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് രാത്രി തന്നെ ഇവിടെ നിന്ന് അമ്മയെ കണ്ട് അവിടെ ഒരു ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിൽ ഒരാളിനെ അമ്മയെ ഏൽപ്പിച്ച് റെഡിയാക്കി എല്ലാം വെച്ച് അടിച്ചാണ് പോണത്. എന്തെങ്കിലും സംഭവിക്കില്ല എന്നാണ് അമ്മ ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിൽ കിടക്കുക. എന്നിട്ട് ഇവിടെ നിന്ന് രാത്രിയുള്ള വണ്ടിയിൽ ഇവിടെ നിന്ന് കയറി നേരെ അവിടെ കന്യാകുമാരിയില്ല നാറൂരിൽ വന്ന് അവിടെ ലാസ്റ്റ് വണ്ടി പോയി. കന്യാകുമാരിയിൽ നിന്ന് ലാസ്റ്റ് വണ്ടി കന്യാകുമാരിയിലേക്ക് പോയി. പിന്നെ വണ്ടിയില്ല. അർദ്ധരാത്രിയാണ്, 12 മണി.
അത് കുഴപ്പമില്ല, അത് കട്ട് ചെയ്ത് കളയാം.